Hey, what's going on, guys? Alex here. I've got Andy right next to me. We're in his shop right now with a super cool bike. This is the CAKE Kalk OR Race. Super lightweight electric dirt bike. And we're going to get it out on the track today, hit some obstacles with it. But before we do, we've got it up on the bench with the man Andy here. And I just kind of want to get your impressions on this bike. What do you think of it? It's the first time you've seen it.
It is. Man, I've been waiting for this moment. But this is really very cool. We just had a 5-minute discussion before we lit this camera up, and I'm way excited, one, to ride it, two, the future. And, you know, everybody's complaint is the price, but I just found a reason to make something like that happen. It's right here in front of me. And we also have a couple of other little comparisons we're going to do for bikes that I have that are my favorite that are right along this line, but boy, I'm really excited about the quiet side of things.
Yeah, it's cool for someone like you who rides in their backyard all the time.
Yeah, I am a 35-year backyard rider.
And you've got neighbors right up next to you.
I do. And spin that camera around there, Alex. That's my backyard treasure right there. But it's very loud. It's very fast.
And the neighbors don't like it, right?
Yeah, everybody's going to complain about a loud pipe.
So this kind of solves that issue if you're a backyard rider. But it's also super lightweight and probably going to be super easy to throw around.
Well, that's the thing. Everything I saw in your video the other morning on this, the weight, everything, power to weight ratio, everything. I've watched some pros ride these. I've watched mountain bikers ride these things. What CAKE has done on my thoughts on this whole thing is really just getting a whole nother group of people involved in riding motorcycles. This is set up like a good dirt bike, but it has very good mountain bike qualities to it. This, I think, is going to be probably a very large segment coming to the motorcycle community because we need it, for one. Too many people are leaving. And this, to me, just, I can't even begin to tell you the opportunity you're giving me today, Alex.
I'm excited for you to get it out on the track. So just kind of walking around it real quick, are there any components that stand out to you as being...
Yeah, of course the Olins. All these, their components are incredible. The build quality of this bike is incredible. Like Alex was saying, the rims, fasteners, axles. I like the lightweight fenders, plastic. It is one of those things that it's you're going to have that kind of situation on a dirt bike. You want things to be plastic. If they're metal, they're just going to bend or break. It looks pretty crashable without damage type thing. Not that I'm going to crash it today.
But that's what you want. You want a crashable bike.
You want to be able to get back up. They get crashed. That's if you're riding to the limit. You bet. So I see nothing but really just stellar products on here that are, this rear shock is incredible. I can't wait to put my 5'8", 230 is what I weigh for all you folks out there. I don't care. It's just, I'm a little heavy, but I still...
You're fast. That's what matters.
I'm fast still.
All right, Andy, so we've got the bike out at your track right here. We're about to go for a ride, but I want to give you a little rundown on kind of how this works first. Yep. So kill switch is this little lanyard right here. I would assume you're supposed to put that on your wrist, but we just have it to the bar. Power button right here. That turns the bike on.
Yep, there's your lights.
Starting to load up. Green, we're good to go. It'll make that chime letting you know it's running.
And it's on.
And then we've got 3 different ride modes. Explore is 1, Excite and Excel is 3, so slowest, fastest. And then you've also got 3 different brake modes. So 1 is freewheel, 2 is what they call 2-stroke mode, and then 3, 4-stroke mode. And that's pretty much it, man.
Okay, I think what I'd like to do just off of what you just listed there is start everything down at the bottom. Freeload and
Explore mode.
Yeah, the Explore mode, just to try this thing out and see what it's all going to do here. Okay, yeah, this is it's a tall one as well. I'm tippy-toed.
So as Andy does with all the bikes he tests, he's over there on the track going real slow right now. He likes to do some slow speed maneuvers and see how the bike handles at its slowest speed, because that's when it's pretty much hardest to ride and when the skill really needs to come out. So we're doing some slow speed testing right now, and then we'll pick up the speed a little bit and start hitting some obstacles.
I'm already way used to this. It feels good. Throttle modulation, doing really slow, skinny stuff. Man, it's very, very smooth. I like that. It does slow really well. So I'm gonna put it up to 2.
Well, it looks like you're having fun already.
Oh, geez. Let's do this here. So I'm on freewheeling right now, right? Yep. So
are you having to use much brakes?
Yes, yeah. It's all brakes. It just keeps speed into the corner, which is fine. That works, but I'm locking up too much rear wheel.
Okay.
And I'd rather use throttle modulation and brake versus just brake. So
2-stroke mode?
Is that 2-stroke right there?
2-stroke.
I'm gonna go with 4-stroke.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
He likes it, he's yelling already.
All right, opposite direction, just to feel my balance. I gotta go the other way. That, I could easily take seconds off my lap time with that mode.
Really?
And
so I'm still in the slower...
I'm in the 4-stroke, but I'm in...
Oh, you're in ride 3 right now.
I did, I turned it up.
Nice.
I needed to get there. The 4-stroke and that braking is just what I needed. So literally I'm now one-fingering rear brake. I'm hardly adding anything. It really does really good on just letting off. I'm gonna stay on 4-stroke to get the same laps, different direction. Then I'll go down to 2-stroke.
Sounds good, man.
And these tires suck. Okay. Wow, this thing's so much fun. And the first lap, I did opposite direction. I was going for the rear brake. Oh shoot, that's right, it's here. So the first time, it's just, you know, you gotta...
A little bit of brain power, I'm sure
you gotta think.
You get used to that after a few hours on the bike.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to 2-stroke mode. Let's bring the circles down a little smaller.
Cool.
Right now, I'm feeling like the rear end is a lot stiffer than the front, because I'm getting a lot of dive and that wheel just wants to curl under me. I would almost go for softening up the rear, and then I'm not gonna have as much head dive. But I'm gonna feel it here now on this shorter course. That was the long course. For each corner I was going into, it wanted to just kind of cut under. All suspension adjustments, not the bike. Okay, just like freeride, 2-stroke hardly has anything. So I'm gonna go back into 4-stroke because that engine braking, I'm not gonna get as much wheel lock. That's why I lost it there, because I got too much wheel lock. So
you prefer the 4-stroke mode. Is that just for this track? Do you think there's probably a good use for the 2-stroke mode? Or
if we went out to IMI and you did the track that we met on,
big motocross track,
I'd do freestyle. Okay. I wouldn't have any braking on. No.
Okay.
No, this is flat track. You need rear brake. That's how you steer. You steer with your throttle as well, but how you approach the corner using rear brake, offset, ripples in the track. This is different than motocross, so it's really about cornering and handling. That's why for me, making a few adjustments on the suspension, I'd be laughing all day on this, but this is too much fun. It really is. This is ultra cool. So I just went one click and I got a stiffer front end. Let's see what it does.
And that's Because we didn't have a tool to adjust the rear, right? So
yeah, I don't want to mess with something that was real simple up here. If I could just get balance out of front and rear. I'm looking for a shifter. Put it in gear with the clutch. Oh my God, this is fun. Suspension felt a lot better. And you can see my transitions, that felt pretty good. And you can see there's some loamy powder over here.
You're spraying me pretty good with it.
It's like you're floating on water. There's no traction whatsoever. This thing is way cool.
So are you feeling more like it's a mountain bike or more dirt bike? It's 165 pounds, so it's super light.
No, it's dirt bike all the way.
Dirt bike.
And again, I'm not even thinking about a mountain bike because my feet are squared up. You're not on pedals, you're not offset, none of that. So it's just getting used to not shifting and rear brake. I don't know if maybe you caught it on camera. I was shifting. I downshifted a couple of times. I was like, oh God, what are you doing? It's just, that's the thing that you're gonna have to get used to on an EV. I've done tens of thousands of laps out here, so my corners and where I'm at, all my braking points, I'm getting 2 or 3 downshifts at that point, and you just got to trust yourself to get through without any downshifting. But 2 very good knobby setups on this would be an entirely different bike.
15 horsepower, what kind of dirt bike would you say power-wise this compares to?
My CRF, just like I thought. Now, at 11 horsepower, no. This thing would walk around it all day.
So the 150 is 11 horsepower stock.
Yes, it's 11 horsepower stock. Mine's about 17 now, and I would be doing pretty close to the same lap times. Probably a little bit less on this one with good tires.
If this were set up properly, you think you could
I would blow away any lap records I have out here.
Nice.
For sure. Okay, so transitions. And again, the way the bike works, this is an uphill. You lose your front traction all the way in this transition to downhill. So you can see my grinders here. The inside of the wide corner is off camera. So again, I'm testing everything on this bike that it really wants to do. This is the total limitation. But holy cow, is this thing smooth. If you had traction, I can't even imagine. And you get to create a whole nother level of riding and where you're riding because of the way this thing works. Quiet, not going to offend anybody, and I think you'll get more attention with these than you would with a bike that's just blasting away with noise.
So one of the things I don't love about the setup here on the bike, I do like that the dials are easy to flip on and off with gloves, super easy to do on the fly. I wish it had some sort of screen that told you a little bit of more information, like the temperature of the battery maybe, a percentage for the battery. Right now we just have these 4 dots, so what would you say? You've done probably like 40, 50 laps?
50 laps now? At least, yeah.
So 50 laps and we've lost 1 dot of battery, which is fine. We're, you know, not too far from a truck we can load it into, but if you're out on a trail or something, you know, it might get a little scary just having the battery dots.
For sure. I haven't felt any difference in throttle modulation, nothing. It is very consistent all the way through.
Still full power, even though
still full power. And that's what I'm curious, which we'll find out here in a bit, that where does it go once we get down to the end? Does it start peeling back a little bit on performance or anything like that, or does it go down into a different mode? Or
and then the other thing you were saying, you're not a huge fan of the seat.
Seat is comfortable, but I'll tell you, this bike is fast enough that when you're used to squeezing a tank or having a tank there, or at least a little bit of a rise, you can use that to squeeze. This is hard to squeeze for me, just with my seating position and all. There's not enough there.
It's narrow. It's super
it is very narrow, and don't get me wrong, I like that as well because that really feels good underneath me.
And the last thing I wanted to ask you is heat. Do you feel any heat? I'm guessing the answer is no, but anything coming off the battery?
No,
not at all.
Now that you say that, I'd be burning up out here on my XR100, my CRF
it's like
150.
90 degrees today, and then
yeah,
you've got a hot bike under you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
no, I forgot about that.
Yeah, no noise, no heat. Pretty cool.
I'm gonna work hard to get my 14 grand together, I'll tell you that.
So, little change of scenery. We're here in Andre's pit at Tumbleweed Ranch. So, instead of doing some oval track riding, we're now going to take it on some obstacles. You were saying this is going to be sort of like trials riding.
Yeah, again, slow riding. A lot of the stuff that Cake has already got on video and all, they're ripping on motocross tracks and small tracks, and what we just did out at my ranch on the flat track. This is more skills, slow, trials like is what I'm going to try to do. That's what I really like about this bike. So in here I think I'm going to freewheel it a little bit. So I'm going to turn it down to 2-stroke, and then we're up on the top power setting, correct?
Yep.
You might as well just leave it there.
Cool. I like power.
I do too. No substitute.
All right, let's see it.
All right, buddy. Man, it's very light coming up that, and you can go slow. Even when you almost come to a stop, a little tickle of the throttle, rip, it's right up over this stuff. So that was my only real concern, is modulation of an EV versus, you know, an ICE motor. It works well.
Yeah, buddy.
Wow. Unbelievable control on this thing. Again, throttle, suspension. Now, before where I said about no gas tank, not being able to squeeze, this is what you want on a trials bike.
Nice and steady.
Just what we got here. This is making this even more fun. So what else, Alex? What do you want me to do here?
You want to try the rocks over there?
Yeah,
Cool.
let's do it. This is every bit a trials bike as it is a moto bike. You could not do this on my CRF. If you came up here on my, you know, internal combustion engine, you'll get up here no problem, but you're gonna wick it. You're gonna give it the beans. You're gonna, you know, because clutch modulation on that bike at a low speed is very difficult to do. So this, all I'm doing is brake and throttle. You're gonna become a better rider quicker on something like this. If this is our future, this is way cool. Yeah, it's a little hard to do.
A few weeks ago, Cake brought me out to Del Mar, California to take a ride on some of their other models, and those videos are on TFL Bike already. But while I was there, Cake also held their Cake Worlds race event, where they brought in a bunch of riders from all different action sports backgrounds and let them loose on a professionally built motocross track. So before we get Andy's final thoughts on the bike, I wanted to give you a taste of how the Kalk performs on a true motocross track. Every racer was on an identical bike and an identical state of charge to make the competition as fair as possible. It was a long day of racing with plenty of carnage, lots of good passing, and overall just a great atmosphere. It was definitely a unique event. Bikes were flying past me all day, but with no engine sound, so you could hear the chain spinning, you could hear all the noises coming from the bike that you normally wouldn't hear. And what I found the most odd was I could actually hear the dirt landing back on the ground after a rider took off of a jump. These athletes can ride way harder than any of us here at TFL, so big thanks to Cake for giving us the chance to see these electric dirt bikes pushed to their absolute limits. All right, so I take it you had a blast on this bike. It looks like it.
I want one.
Yeah, you definitely want one. You've been talking about that.
I want one.
So we've been riding for a decent while. We just turned the bike up, but we're at 3 bars of battery right now. CAKE claims 3 hours of riding out of this. It has a 2.6 kilowatt hour battery that can recharge from 0 to 80% in 2 hours or 0 to 100 in 3 hours. Do you think that's enough?
Yes.
Yeah?
All the laps that I do at my house, it would be hard to burn that battery down. I certainly think range is still always going to be a thing on these type of bikes or cars or trucks or whatever's electric, but I don't know what the issue is. That's plenty of time to wear yourself out.
Yeah, I think 3 hours I'd be dead.
You're going to get to a point where, all right, yep, it's time to charge the battery.
Yeah.
And we got it real dirty. There's no air filter to clean. There's no oil to change. Remember all that when you're thinking about the price.
Which is $14,000. You can get them cheaper. This is the race edition, so it's got, dirt tires on it, the nice Olin suspension, so definitely one of the more premium Kalks. And I know in some of the other CAKE videos we've done, people have complained about the price. So I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on how this stacks up against some other dirt bikes out there. I know you want one, so clearly you think it's worth.
Well, I'm, just like you asked me on the Trail 125, would I want one? And I said no. This is a totally different situation. This is really where I think you're going to get a lot more thought in the process of riding than you do on an internal combustion engine bike with transmission, clutch, and everything else. This is going to give you the freedom to ride, express yourself, train. I can't even begin to think, even my age, a bike like this for me, I'd be on this every day out on that back track. I would charge a full battery up and go on out and rip on it. As I said to Alex earlier too, even with that price, I'd probably get a second set of wheels, second set of tires that would be designed for more smooth riding, almost a super motard type aspect. And then you just saw how good this does slow. I think that probably got me the most intrigued about this bike of what we just did at 0 miles per hour, essentially less than walking, coming up a rock field and not touching the bottom, full control, great throttle modulation that kept balance. Having to do that with a clutch and a transmission, that's a totally different ball game. You'd have to come up it a lot faster. I was able to literally walk up on this. I just had my mind completely changed today.
Yeah, so it's cool to see. I mean, this is the future of dirt biking, really. You've got, like we said, no heat coming off the bike, so that can make you last a lot longer. There's no noise, so you can ride this,
anywhere.
Pretty much anywhere.
All you backyard boys, start saving your money. And just as it goes right now, the more of us that get involved in this, the prices are going to start coming down. Let them get their productions up.
Yeah, a lot of these components are made in-house by CAKE, and as numbers start to rise, parts are just going to get cheaper. And also, there's going to be competition soon. So
very much so.
A ton of electric dirt bikes coming out. Hopefully the big 4 manufacturers and some of the others as well will come out with some electric dirt bikes, and that as well is only going to drive prices down and make the market more competitive.
It's flat screen TVs, guys. We all know when they first came out, you were overpaying for those things, and look where they are today. This is where this is going to go, let alone time and batteries. Batteries are going to get better. Batteries are going to get lighter. They're going to hold longer charges.
They're going to charge faster.
They're going to charge faster. If you're really trying to push this technology away, I think you're doing yourself a disservice.
And like you said earlier, there's so many, even here in Colorado, dirt bike tracks that have been shut down because the people who live around them can't stand the noise. And so how do you keep tracks open? You make them quieter. If
you have an opportunity to get a test ride on one, you should take it.
Well, there you go. Thanks a ton, Andy, for spending the day with me and giving us an experience, what it's like to ride this bike. And like I said earlier, I knew you were going to like it. I didn't think you were going to want multiple of them. So that's the
I want 5.
Five
of them. I want them for my school. I want to teach people how to ride on these things. And and then go from there. I can't even begin to say that's my plan down the road for sure.
So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to head on over to alltfl.com and also tflbids.com, where the man himself who built the Trail 70, that's going to be up for sale pretty soon.
Baby.
So go check that out. We'll catch you in the next one.